You are hosting universes inside of yourself. It's so incredible. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and a lot of people have asked me to make this video, and I said I'm going to do it a little bit later because I'm actually in the process of packing, because I'm moving from the country, or from the city, sorry, to the beautiful, beautiful country. It's amazing with my dog living in the mountains. But I've really been wanting to make this video because more and more people are asking me about it. So I was like, I'm gonna just sit down and I'm gonna just do it, because even though I've heard these things before and I've shared it so many times, every single time I share it, it's like it's new, so it's so exciting. And it is about the divinity that you are, the greatness that you are, that makes up who you are, because you literally have universes inside of you. And if you look at an atom, which is like the smallest sort of molecule, well, not molecule, but smallest sort of particle that we know, because a couple of atoms, you put them together, they actually make molecules, and then that in turn makes cells. But first of all, when you look at an atom, and I'm telling you, it is so mind-blowing. So first of all, my name is Adrian Nelson. In case I forget, welcome to the video. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. Thank you for your support. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, like the video. I look forward to your comments. Share this video, with anybody who can benefit from it. But so let's just start with an atom, all right, which is the smallest particle known to man. So when you put an atom under a microscope and you look at it, there is a life-giving source in the middle, and there's little bits that are orbiting around it, in a predictable orbit around it. Here's the thing with that. When you look at our universe, that we know as our universe, we have the sun in the middle, which is the life-giving force and the life-sustaining force, and you have the planets orbiting around there in a predictable pattern. And that predictable pattern in your atoms and in our universe, it is the same thing. It is a replica of the same thing. Just taking a look so quickly here. Sorry, but moving, I'm having something delivered. Beautiful person sent me, those sort of like charms that like sort of like you put them in the sun and they move around. They've got these beautiful rainbows on the wall. So one of my clients, actually, she makes them, and she sent me one of those, and it's actually great because my friend makes them as well. So now I'm gonna have three. It's so cool, and I thought it was being delivered. Anyway, so you see how magic can come into your life when you just let it. And the more you realize who you are and what you are really part of, the more magic will just come into your life, because you realize that you are magic. You are. So anyway, so with these items, so these items make up, our molecules, make up our cells, but these are the life forces inside of us. And these items, they don't see themselves as these tiny, minuscule little beings. They see themselves as universes. So what you think and what you say and what you speak literally determines your experience of life, because a grown human being has got an average 7 billion atoms in their body. So you consist on average of 7 billion atoms. You consist of all these universes that work together to make the one unit that is you. So when you speak, when you think, when you say, when you focus, these items hear you. They see you as God. And whatever you think about, say about, wish, think, whatever, that determines what they do. So now think about it like this. These are the items in our body. This is the universe in which we live. What if we, hear me out here, what if we are just living inside of another atom? What if we are the living force, the living organism, the consciousness inside of an atom that is part of a bigger body? Think about it. If you've got 7 billion atoms in your body, approximately, that sees your thoughts and your words and everything as God, Doesn't it maybe make sense that that might be possible for us as well? Because life just duplicates upon itself. That is just a fact. Yeah? And these items don't see themselves as tiny little you. They don't see themselves as tiny minuscule universes. They see themselves as full universes. So what if we're in the same vibe? What if we're in the same thing? Think about it. All right? And here's the other thing. So a lot of times we find it very difficult to wrap our minds around the idea of sort of like, multiple dimensions, and a lot of them is like similar to us, some might be different. But then again, when you think of items make up all different sorts of things. Essentially they are, the building blocks of our body, they the blood, they make up our bones, all these sort of things. So they're the same thing, and in many ways they're very the same because, all the items in the liver, they kind of similar-ish. But it only makes logical sense that the ones that sort of like form like your hip bone, it's the same thing, but it's expressing itself in a different way. What if that's the same thing with the multiverse that we exist in? And what if all of this whole multiverse, what if, like for example, like this, what if we exist within a body, so we're an atom in a body that's maybe just part of a bigger body, and a bigger body, and a bigger body. Who are you really? What are you really part of? What are you truly part of? What is the consciousness that really runs through you? Take some time to really think about it. Allow yourself to be blown away. If you're not blown away, pause, go back and listen again. What are you really part of? And when we think of the concept that we refer to as God, what is God really? And what if God just has another God and another God and another God? Think about it. So when we speak of you as an individual, your concept of individuality is kind of like expanded now. So when we speak about us all being one and us all being connected and no separation, it's a very real thing. It's not just some trippy new age sort of idea that sounds kind of smart, And here's the other thing. Up to 98% of our items in our body is replaced every single year. Which means, what about of a 2%, play in there, 2-3%? You are literally a brand new body every single year. That's only 365 days, 364 sometimes, So think about it. Why do we age? If you've got a threatening disease that goes on for years, why is that happening? Who tells those items who and what to be other than us? I've been, I'm a Theta healer, and this is one of those amazing books for Theta Healing, Theta Healing Diseases and Disorders, actually by Vianna Stibal. I actually want to read you a little bit from there. And also, if you're interested in studying Theta Healing, there's a link in the description for my coach. She's incredible. You can check it out. But when you really get how powerful your thoughts are, now a lot of times, a lot of people are very concerned about, relationship coaching and, finding your soulmate. And I mean, those things are amazing. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants their soulmate. It's in your nature. It's normal. But I am very passionate about helping people realize who they truly are, and what you are a part of, and the potential of your mind. I mean, in my Theta Healing coaching, one of the students literally had stage 4 colon cancer. Stage 4. That is when, the doctors tell you to get your affairs in order. And I fully agree with them. But my take on getting your affairs in order and the doctor's take on getting your affairs in order, it's sort of different. I'll be like, it's time to get your affairs in order. Because we don't realize how powerful our mind actually is. But when you do, it's like Pandora's box. Once you see, you can't unsee. You are powerful. You are super powerful. You are like a super computer. Do you know that your body, your brain is able to capture way more information than the smartest computer network ever? That's who you are, you know? There's no need to be afraid of anything or anyone, because everyone that comes into our reality is just a mirror reflection of us. So the things that you see that you like, good, great, kudos, that's what you're doing great. The things that you don't like, those are the things that you can change. Because what are you really part of? We have this amazing ability to have this consciousness that we come here to view and to see and to discern and to decide. We have choice. And do you know that most of your choices that you make in this world are just genetically inherited? We think that these are our own choices. You've inherited those in your pathology. It's time to wake up and start thinking for yourself. But before you can think for yourself, you need to know when you are actually not thinking, when you do believe yourself to be thinking. Let the penny drop. You know? In my family, on my father's side of the family, everybody gets cancer. Everybody gets kidney stones. On my mother's side of the family, everybody gets diabetes. And I don't have time for that nonsense. And I was probably about 20. I remember the day very clearly. I was speaking to one of my aunts and her husband, and she was like, oh, my child, you know, when you get older, you this and this and this. And I remember very clearly walking down the road, and I said to myself, I don't have time for this nonsense. I hardly get the flu. You know? Your mind is powerful. Let nobody tell you that that certain diseases can't be healed and you can't this and you can't that. No. And with that being said, I want you to know that we live in a great age of, well, according to the rest of the universe, we're quite primitive, we're like children, but of enlightenment for us, and the medical field, they are creating miracles these days. I mean, even something like a cesarean, which is the way that I was born, it is a miracle, So have respect for the medical field as much as you look into, what we would call sort of like spiritual or alternative healing. It doesn't have to be either or. The two can work beautifully together. When I see, for example, people doing Reiki, in sort of like theaters and hospitals, it warms my heart. Because as a Reiki Grandmaster, I know exactly how powerful it is. And I'm not talking about this westernized, watered down crap that people teach over weekends. I'm not talking about that. That is not Reiki. A lot of people be like, oh, Reiki is dead. No, this wishy-washy business that you've got down over here, this is not Reiki. It's a suggestion of it. Something completely different. Do you know that in years before, if you studied Reiki, for example, like in Tibet, for example, you had to go stay at the monastery and you had to be there for a long time before you might even be considered to be taught the things, But because we are Reiki, you've got the powers that the dudes like Jesus and those people have. That is what they learn. That is what they practice. You have the same power and the same potential, and because a couple of thousand years have passed in the interim, and we've done a couple of upgrades in the interim in the world, you are more powerful than a lot of those ascended masters that came to earth are. Jesus, Hare Krishna, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon his soul, all those beautiful, beautiful, beautiful souls that came here to help humanity, to teach us love, to let us know you are all one. And then we turn it into religion, and then we make it this very exclusive sort of thing. Know how powerful you are. You be you, and you let everybody else be them. And so here's the thing. So atoms are the building blocks of sort of like matter and chemistry, and when they combine with each other, they become a molecule. And here's the amazing thing about that. When we say that we consist mostly of water, 99% of a molecule is water. We are not that solid. We're rather flowy, so let's flow with life. Human beings are the only beings that sort of like religiously, punish ourselves for stuff. Harshly so. And we call ourselves the enlightened beings. Another thing that always used to blast my mind with human beings, Not so much anymore, because I'm like, everybody can just be whoever and whatever they choose, but we have this thing, it's like we are the wisest and most advanced civilization in the universe, and then we also kind of, reason that we are the only civilization in the universe. And I mean, first of all, when you think about it, we don't even know how vast the universe is, even though deep down I believe we do, you know. So how can we know that we're the only, intelligent beings? And that doesn't really sound something an intelligent being would say, because first of all, we literally don't know in our reality. And secondly, sorry, the universe always duplicates upon itself, you know. When you think about it, when you are born, it's basically two little cells that come together, sperm cell and egg cell, and they duplicate upon themselves to make a human being. It's consciousness. You are a miracle. Literally. You are a living, walking, breathing miracle. You come from two tiny parts that got together with all the consciousness to become you. I mean, think about it. We measure ourselves by all these little things in the world. I'm not tall enough or strong enough, or, my hair isn't flowy enough or whatever. You are a miracle. Know that. Okay? And so then, and then we get cells. So the molecules become cells. And water is basically the most sort of like abundant, molecule inside of a cell. And that's sort of like the molecules that make the cell. It's like basically 70%, sometimes more, water. Hence the reason human beings are about 70% water, because you consist of trillions of cells. Like think about it. You consist of trillions of cells working together to form the oneness of who you are. And remember, those universes are inside of those cells, inside of the molecules that are formed by the atoms. Think about it. Think about it. Okay? And just to give you an idea, so a typical male, his body consists of about 36 trillion cells, all working together to make one person. A female is about 28 trillion cells. And a baby is about 17, or like a 10-year-old is about 17 trillion cells. You are a walking miracle. You are a collective consciousness that I would stand to reason is part of a collective consciousness, because if you look at nature, if you look at the universe, if you look at life, it always duplicates upon itself. Hence the reason you get the sperm cell and the egg cell getting together, and it duplicates upon itself. It's consciousness duplicating upon itself. It just is what it is. You are consciousness, intelligence, life, duplicated upon itself, regenerating itself all the time. And then, on top of that, remember that you have got a lot of stem cells that are regenerating on a daily basis. You're about 1% new every single day. And stem cells are unprogrammed cells. They come into our body and they take on the programming of our body. So when you change your focus, you can change your life. Imagine if you get about 1% new. Imagine if you improve by 1% every single day, and you are born with a natural ability to do so. Within about 3.5 to 4 months, you can be a new person. So when we speak about miraculous healings, when we speak about turnarounds, miracles, creating your own reality, it is not some pie in the sky sounding really lovely ideas. Let's put some wings on our back and sing Kumbaya around the fire and light some incense. It is real. The ancients knew that. They knew this. We are the ones that are remembering what our ancestors already knew, and we are in the age of fast awakening to who we are, to who we've always been. It's the great remembering of how powerful you are. You know, I want to read you something. It says that 1 in 200 stars has habitable Earth-like planets surrounding it in the galaxy. 500 million stars have Earth-like planets going around it. That's huge. 500 million. I want you to remember this is just in our universe. Okay? So when we look at the night sky, it only makes sense that someone is looking back at us. And the person who said this was Michio Kaku, who's an American scientist and American physicist and science communication from Harvard, 1968, if you want to follow it up. And also he's a professor at the City College of New York, according to Wikipedia. So this person's still alive, you know. But just like seriously who you are. And I want you to just read something from Diseases and Disorders by Vianna Stibal when it comes to healing, because sometimes we really have this idea that, you know, it has to be either or. Imagine if you can, you know, use everything together. I find it kind of silly when we want to say, okay, well, I'm so spiritual now, I'm not going to do any of the medical stuff, you know. And not a lot of times, but sometimes people have said to me before that, you know what, my mind made me sick, so my mind will make me healthy. And yes, I'm on board with you with that. But do you have the capacity of what it takes for your mind to do that yet? Wouldn't you want to find out where does it come from? What are the bottom beliefs? What are the genetic beliefs, you know, that got you there? It may have taken you many years in your own life to create the disease. It may have taken you thousands of years in your pathology to create the disease, because the gene code, you might be born with the encoding. So you first want to know where it comes from. I recommend, you know, and this is where the Theta Healing sessions that I do are coming. They are brilliant. And I always say to people, you know, you book 4, you get a 5th one free. You can share it with others, but I would personally say book them for yourself, because when you change, you can help everybody else so much more. All right, so I'm just going to read you a little bit. But Vianna Stibal says in Theta Healing, Diseases and Disorder. And if you are a Theta healer, or even if you're just interested in healing, you want to have this book. Oh, this book. And also the 7 Planes of Existence. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You know? Okay, so it says, the reader will notice that I have drawn upon the knowledge of modern conventional medicine. The reason for this is that, unlike some in the alternative field, I do not see doctors and prescription drugs as the enemy. I believe that we all benefit from conventional medicine. I believe that the essence of conventional medicine has its own powerful spiritual vibration, and it is up to us to use it wisely. Okay, so for healing, not dependence. Big difference between the two. I will say, however, that it does have its drawbacks. One of the problems with conventional medicine is that of specialization. Medical specialists often fail to recognize the synchronistic attributes of the human body. For instance, medicine that is prescribed by a heart specialist might help the heart but have an adverse effect on the rest of the body. And you know, this is sort of like where we want to be mindful, especially these over-the-counter drugs and self-medication. And the moment you get like a little cough or whatever, you know, you want to sort of do something about it. I would personally recommend more getting into herbs, which this book speaks about a lot, or understanding why does the body cough? Why is there phlegm? Why am I having pain? Why is there a pus in the sore? That sort of thing. Why is it making a scab? Why is the body doing that? Because the intelligence of the body is doing it for a reason that is to your benefit. Okay? And even with certain medications, you know, listen, everything comes from the earth. So a lot of times when people be like, you know, I'm not so into herbs, I don't know about them. Everything you find on the shelf has to come from the earth. I mean, where else would it come from? Thin air, you know? Like a lot of our fast food these days. You have chicken that doesn't have any traces of chicken in it, for example, you know? I once heard somebody say that, I'm not going to say the name of the franchise, but one of the biggest global franchises, you know, they were like, chicken patties or chicken should not come out of a tube. Think about it. Is your diet making you sick? Are your thoughts making you sick? And know that you have what it takes to turn that around, but it means that you tap into the capacity of who you are. And that is what I specialize in proudly. And if you feel that, all else has failed you or you can't get there, make a booklet. I'm telling you, let's just start tapping into your potential. Okay? And something for me, I don't believe in creating codependence with my clients. You have to come see me once a month or once a year, whatever. No. I want you to see the power of who you are and then go out and live that power. You know what I mean? Yes, okay, so another oversight of many medical practitioners is that they fail to see that each person is different. Each person is special. And so each person will have their own reaction to medicines. It's like when you put perfume on your body. Whatever's happening inside of your body determines how the perfume smells on you. It just is what it is. It's a chemical reaction. Okay? In Western society, we also give a lot of power to our doctors. We wait with bated breath on every word the doctor says and believe what we are told. Proper discernment of what we are told by our doctor is important. I would actually say imperative, life depending. Okay? Your final belief and analysis and ground line about you should come from you. Okay? But that means that you have to know who you are. As well as the knowledge that there are always other options and other doctors. Doctors are like us with positive and negative attributes. They're just people. And in the end, it is our decision whether or not to accept their suggestions. In other words, the diagnosis. Be careful of accepting negative statements from a doctor as the ultimate truth. As I say in my Theta Healing class, there was someone that had stage 4 colon cancer. I'm not disrespecting the medical field, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there are other possibilities available. Just because everybody believes it doesn't mean that you should believe it and you should accept it. There's a story that actually my instructor, and again, you can check out, there's a link in the description, that told us that's a true story that happened, that Vianna Stibal told in the coaching that she was in, that a doctor was doing his rounds with his students, and he was speaking Spanish, and this person didn't understand Spanish. And this patient was very anxious to get better and to get a diagnosis, so he knew what was going to happen, and nobody could give him one. And then this person looked at this chart, he smiled at him, and he said, I think he said mordo, or something like miert, which is like death, but miert is a little bit of an ugly term, but something like mordo, I think it was in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. And then, he got the smile, and everybody shake their head, the students with the doctor, and he got oh my goodness, that's amazing, now I've got a diagnosis. All of a sudden the man was better. But what the doctor actually told the students is that it's tickets for this guy. This bra's dead, there's no hope for him. End of story, end of the road for him. Question of time, why is he even still alive? There is the power of your mind. And you don't want to wait until you get to that perilous state before you start tapping into the power of your mind. It's wonderful to have a story of I had cancer and I thought I was going to make it and I decided to live. It's wonderful. And also it starts with a choice for everybody. But why wait till you get there? You know what I mean? I've seen lots of people in my family die of cancer. Why wait till I'm there? No. You don't know. All right? And I thank them for walking that path to bring me to this path, to this realization. And in that sense, soul families work together. We're here in a soul family dynamic. We work together. Okay? Everybody's very on about who gets it and who doesn't get it. What if we all get it and we just help each other get it for the evolution of the oversoul, the allness of who we are? Because remember, as an individual, what is your sense of individuality now? What are you really part of? If we all live in this one atom, what molecule are we forming part of? What cell are we forming part of? And what are the other cells around us? Boom. On the flip sides, there have been incredible advances in conventional medicine that we all benefit from. Antibiotics, for example, which comes from nature, help us fight infection. They do not kill the infection but are designed to work with the immune system. There is a great deal of hype in the alternative field that antibiotics are bad for you because they deplete the immune system. The truth is, antibiotics can do several things to the system. They can cause the die-off of good bacteria in the intestinal tract. They also have a tendency to push the immune system into overdrive. So, remember, you get, what is this thing called that you take with antibiotics? Um, I remember I was really sick about 3 years ago, and I didn't take them, and oh, it was quite bad. But there's something that you take with it to make sure that you don't get it. It sort of fights it. I can't remember the name now. If you remember, put it in the comments, please. Where are we now? However, when you have a client who is using an antibiotic, you have to work with the antibiotic. Don't fight it. We've got this tendency to fight stuff. And if we're all in the same simulation or in the same item, then technically you're just fighting yourself. Everything's a mirror reflection of you. So the more we fight the outer, the more we fight the inner, and then what are you focusing on? Then it's like everybody with this hectic sort of cord cuttings, they're like out to fight the dark and got these big ceremonies and it's very dramatic and freaking people out. No need for that. Okay. You cannot tell your client to discontinue its use. The full course of antibiotics must be taken, otherwise the bacteria will have time to mutate and cause an even worse infection. In addition, there are times when an antibiotic is beneficial, such as when truly nasty bacteria gets into the system, and yet I see people who refuse to take antibiotics even though they had terrible infections. And when I read this, I was like, yes, queen. I've been talking about this. Why does it have to be so either or? Why can't we take all the benefits? And I mean, if you are in excruciating pain, then it might only make sense to maybe alleviate that pain and then in a more relaxed way to find out what is it that's causing the pain. Instead of laying there and halfway dying, like why would you want to put yourself through that torture? Or why would you want to suggest to put someone else through that torture? I am and have always been an advocate of what works. If an antibiotic that is needed, then fine. If it is the healing that called for, then fine. All things are equal under the eyes of the Creator. It may surprise you when you hear the Creator specifically. So this is obviously for Theta healers, but I just wanted to share it with you. It may, by the way, these books are printed by Hay House, Vianna Stibal. So and they're quite. I know in South Africa we get them from loot.co.za. You can get them from Takealot. You can also get them from Amazon. It may surprise you when you hear the Creator specifically tell you that a person should use antibiotic. But this simply means that on some level the person is not ready to release the bacteria any other way. And why should we want to enforce our beliefs upon someone else? Some people believe everything the doctor says, so the thought that the antibiotic will work is the healing essence. Keep your ego and belief systems out of the equation. Just a little bit more. Many of us, in fact, owe our lives to conventional medicine. Again, I was born by a emergency cesarean actually, because there were complications in my birth. So if I completely discard sort of like, modern medical advances, then I should also fly with the idea then I shouldn't be born. You know what I'm saying? But in the field of medicine, conventional or alternative, humans have not been able to copy the life force that suffices all things. Our body consists of more than just matter or cells running around with autonomic responses, communicating with each other like a biological machine. Feelings, emotions, beliefs, and programs influence how we behave and have dramatic effects on the body's well-being, even on a cellular level. The cells are aware of the environment both inside and outside the body and have individual intelligence. So, that is that part that I really wanted to share with you, that we consist of trillions of cells. Remember, a male, around 36 trillion, a female, these are adults, around 28 trillion, and a child of 10 years old, around 17 trillion. They are individual consciousness that make the fullness of who we are. You are not one solid being. You are made of trillions of individual consciousness working together to form you. In your body, you've got way more cells than there are people on this planet. Boom. Look at how, if my cells don't work together, I can't be Adrian. If your cells don't work together, you can't be you. And they listen to you. Remember, you get those new stem cells every single day. 3 to 4 months, you can be a brand new person. So do not buy into the idea that this can't happen and that can't happen. Because those stem cells that come in every day are unprogrammed. They are neutral. They are ground zero. They are Switzerland. The power of your mind. The power of your mind. It can't even, it's literally one of those things that is beyond the descriptive capability of words. Like you have to experience it to get it. It's like, I can't even believe that this is what I do. I'm like, oh. And even with Ascended Masters, I've been born and I've always known that I was an Ascended Master that came to this planet. But I had so much difficulty accepting it. And through Theta Healing, I could get there. And I was like, oh, this is what I came for, best. I just accept it. And so, we're all basically either Ascended Masters, and majority of people on this planet are children of Ascended Masters from the 5th dimension. 7 Planes of Existence explain that really, really well, as well as the other books. I don't have them all with me now, but as I said, I'm packing. The cells are very aware, of the environment inside them, around them. The concept of interconnected wholeness from the smallest particle in our bodies to the furthest reaches of creation inspire me to witness the healings of the Creator. My beautiful cosmic sibling, you are part of so much more. That part that I told you about, Mishawi Kakui, that was speaking about, that every 200 stars in our galaxy has the potential for a habitable Earth. And it's so amazing. There's this one company in South Africa, and they speak, they had this advert that I saw on television, and I thought it was so incredible. They were speaking about, it's sort of like, I think, 1 million in a million possibilities for life to be on this planet. Do you even realize how mind-blowing it is that this whole thing just works, and that you just work? When you really truly understand who you are, what you're part of. It was Woolworths actually that had the advert. It was amazing. It was one of the best adverts I've ever seen. It was promotion, but it was obviously promotion, it's an advert, but it was consciousness. And I think so many people hear that and they don't even realize it. So if you are in South Africa, next time when you do see that advert, whenever it is, or just think about it. There is 1 million in a million sort of chance of life on a planet happening, cultivating and sustaining itself. You are part of something miraculous. And you, because you're part of it, you are miraculous. And it only makes sense that we live in a multiverse. I mean, if everything, if you really think of how vast the universe is, which first of all, we don't know. It was very interesting, even when you think about life in the oceans. People would, for example, say mermaids definitely don't exist. But we know less than 10% of everything that happens in all of the oceans. And 70% of the planet is covered by water. And as human beings, we are 70% water. 7 is the number that in all the religions and ancient traditions and everything, there's the number 7. You've got 7 chakras in your body, 7 main chakras actually, many obvious others. 7 planes of existence. It's a powerful number. can't just be a coincidence. And my recommendation is really, honestly, earnestly, curiously, with a sense of adventure, take a look into who and what you really are. Once you get it. And the thing is that's so amazing about it, what you really get is that you don't fully get it. So it's just amazing. And if you're open to booking one of these incredible life-changing sessions, contact me. I work in person and online. And even if it's just to talk, thank you for your time. You magical being, my cosmic sibling, my eternal cosmic sibling. And once you get who you are, you will have no need to compete or to fight, or it won't even matter so much who does what. You'll be like, okay, that's your opinion. Cool, that's your reality, that's my reality, that's your right. You know? Everything is a miracle. From my heart, namaste, love and light.